In this demo, we're going to demonstrate the next phase of updates to this growing person class, and that's adding the display methods. If you'll recall from the intended person API, or even from using the CS12 date class, we provided for two ways of programmatically seeing into objects of our class, toString and print. So let's implement the first of those right now and kind of talk our way through it. This first one, toString, is a standard one that is part of pretty much any Java class. In fact, it's pretty much a given standard that every class will provide a toString method. And it's got a very standard interface. It's always going to be this: public string toString, open and close parentheses, open and close braces. So this method is public. We want the outside world to use it. It returns a string, and it's always called toString, and it generally takes no inputs. And what this does, if you remember, it returns a designer specified string representation of all the data of a class. So what we're going to do for ours is we're just going to return a comma separated list of all of the instance variables. Well, right now we've only got the one instance variable first name, so we'll just start with that for right now. And you could implement this however you wanted. You could make this string have any format you desired. If you think about CS12 date, for example, it returned the month, day, year in a slashes date format. It's really up to the designer, but comma separated values is kind of a standard way of doing things. So that's what we'll do for our class. And this is really all there is to it. Now, toString also illustrates the idea of overriding, because somewhere up the Java family tree is the ultimate ancestor class, object with a capital O, and it already provides a starting toString method. By providing our own version of this, we are masking or replacing the object version of toString with our specific version of toString that's specific to what we want it to be able to do. So always provide this in classes that you write. The other display method we want to provide is one called print. And this one is rather non-standard. This is one I found to be pretty useful, so I put it into my CS12 date, and I'm going to ask that you also implement it in your class, person, for this class. So let's do this. Let's give it a little bit of a comment of what we're doing. This is going to be just a formatted version of our object's data. And by the way, get in the habit of giving all of your methods some one-line description, because there are going to be lots of methods in any class you write. So get in the habit of giving them a one-line comment preceding them, just to visually break things up and explain where everything is in your file. But what our print is going to do, it's going to be public. It's not going to return anything, so it'll be a void, and it'll be print, no input arguments, open, close curly braces, and then all we're going to do is we're going to print all of the instance variables. I'm not sure if I can see them all here. Let me scroll up a bit here. So all we've got right now again is first name. So all we're going to do in here is we're going to print it out using system.out.println, and we're going to print it out in a labeled form, just like we've done so many times for any regular variable. So we'll just say first name colon, maybe we'll tab over a little bit, and there's our labeling string, string concatenation, and then the value of the instance variable, and that's it. So if we do object.print, we'll get a label value pair, one line for each instance variable. Now, to make this a little more useful, let's also demonstrate the idea of overloading. And we're going to provide a second version of print with a slightly different calling structure, and it's going to do the following. Let me comment this before I write it. Overloaded version of print accepts label string, and this one's going to be a little bit different. Public void print again, but this time we're going to have it accept one input, a string message, open closing brace. So this is an example of overloading. Two different versions of the same method but with different calling signatures. So this one takes one argument, a string, whereas this one takes no arguments. So these are clearly distinct from each other as far as the compiler can tell. And then inside of this, what we'll do is the following. Just like you might have done in a prior program assignment when you were trying to print something, or rather write a bounding box, so to speak, we're going to print our message out inside of a header. Just going to copy and paste that, and then in between we will print whatever message was provided to us, and then at the end of this we're going to make a nested call to the other print. So what we're doing here is, in addition to printing this information, we're preceding it with this labeled header, and then we're concluding by making a call to this simpler version. And notice that we're not repeating this code inside this overloaded version. We're simply deferring to the print in this one place. It's a good practice when you're writing code to only write instructions one time if you can get away with it. So because any method can call any other method inside of a class, we'll just do the actual printing of the instance variables here, and then we'll just reuse that code using this print method, or this print call rather. So again, this is an example of overloading two different versions of the same method. So let's save this and compile it, make sure we don't have any typos, and everything's fine. So this is what I'm going to be looking for you to do in terms of creating display methods. And again, we've only got the one instance variable now, but we'll get everything in place for one instance variable, and it will be very easy, as you might imagine, to expand this for additional instance variables. But we'll get back to that later on.